Hey guys, Cosmos here from Dolly Games, and in this video we're gonna be doing a battle with the level 30 Purgatory maze boss. As some people have asked me how I pass it at my BR or a little bit lower already, since I have done some holy forging. But just to see the stats, BR and stats you can see over here, and pause the video if you need to look further. But basically, before I used to use a Bell Oracle U-Demon. Now, just for a bit more speed, I use the Wind Kid, which I'm building up anyways. So he's just gonna go with all skills, doesn't really matter. The focus is not really on him, and usually I simply take the Shadow Thrasher on instead of Slasher for this battle, and then I jump straight into it. The important thing here is that I'm using the dark pet, but it works just as well with Zeus, for example. But I wouldn't really use too much. I've tried also doing it with light. It works, but it's harder. I mostly go with dark because of the heal when I don't have the healing from the kit. Like when I had Bell Oracle, then you might consider going Electro. The reason why Electro works well on this boss is because of the player priority skills, or in this case it'll be boss priority, such as Jupiter's Wraith, Flash Storm. They're guaranteed to hit the boss. Of course, Short Circuit has a high chance of hitting the boss, and you just have to make sure to get a Delphic out before he summons the troops. So this boss also gets bugged sometimes. By bugged I mean he does not call his mobs sometimes, and in very rare occasions he will actually walk over and hit you. It happened only 2 times in the whole history for me. So we're just gonna go ahead with this setup right now and see what happens. So of course the point is to keep him on slow. You can also use the Mire rune if your BR is lower. That also works. But basically I try to keep him on slow at all times. And in the past, when I was a bit weaker, I would go to Sylph mode one time before the end. But nowadays I don't do that. I go human form until last moment. So here normally the Sylph mode would activate, and I would do 2 or 3 skills, not more. It was just to help speed up the process, and then you have to exit the Sylph mode fast in order to get it ready for the final assault. Anyways, here the kid will die, of course. He's not the main purpose here. I'm just bringing his health down, and this you can take a longer time. It's not really a big deal. The most important here is to try to get End Slow and the ultimate Delphic Destroyer out before he calls his friends. So I'll need, actually, maybe this will work. I always prioritize slow for this, and I also fail sometimes if I'm being silly. So this the Delphic failed, in which case I do the ultimate Slasher, which bypasses the mob as well. Awakening with the healing rune. He still has a little bit of slow on him. So here I'm casting the Death's Harvest for damage increase, and of course mob damage. Devour is the one that keeps you alive. And next is the big Delphic, and then the Devil's Gaze, which is, if the boss didn't die now, then the Devil's Gaze would have killed him, which is player priority as well. So it's easier for me now. I got a bit stronger, but before, of course, I also posted information about beating this boss with lower battle rating. Also, check out the article on our on Dull Games Wartune website, giving all the tips for beating this boss. I'll also give a couple of tips now. So at a lower battle rating, you have to also not rush, and by that I mean you don't have to enter the Sylph mode fast. For example, with this setup with the Dark Sylph, it's better to wait until the mobs are called. It's better to do the Enhanced Delphic Destroyer first, before the mobs. If you fail that, like I showed, Ultimate Slasher is actually very good. It bypasses the mobs. You can even stay in human form, do an Ultimate Slasher, put a shield, do another Ultimate Slasher. You can even do Whirlwind if you want to. So human form is actually pretty good. And only when you're finished with the human form, then you can awaken, and that's also because the awakening itself does an area damage. And if you're using your Bell Oracle for this attack, then set it like this with Restoration and Centauria, because you don't need his damage, you just need him to keep you and him at full health. And of course, after the boss does his big attack, don't heal with the Divine Blessing straight away. Let the kid do a restoration on himself first, and only after the restoration do Divine Blessing to bring everything to 100%, both the kid and yourself. So when going with this setup, don't bother with other skills like Damnations. I've seen some people take. It's not really necessary. But what you do want to do is at the end, when the moment the mobs are summoned, you will be a little bit hurt, and your kid will be a little bit hurt. So you might be tempted to use the area or the Blessed Light, Delphic Divine Blessing type of a heal. And you should not do that. At that moment, you should sacrifice your kid and do the do the attack, which is the Delphic Radiant Judgment, which will hit all the mobs together with the boss and give you this 9. In this case, I have it on level 3. So at level 3, it'll give a 9% damage increase to you, and you awaken after this, because then you can do an Ultimate Slasher with this. Which is another 9% increase of damage, which goes directly on the boss, and then you awaken also with this. Alternatively, you can you can bypass the Ultimate Slasher, but you should still try to awaken with this skill on, which lasts for 2 turns, which means you're awakening plus 1 more attack, so that'll be your area damage. So awakening and area damage, that's 2 times area damage. That will really help you. Sacrifice the kid, he will die on the next mob attack, which is completely fine. But don't try to heal. Don't try to heal him once the mobs are out. He's as good as dead. So go ahead with the attack. Other kids, if you wanna speed things up, you can go with the Hunter. But I prefer the Wind Ranger. Because I like the poison, and they are similar, just the Hunter does the damage immediately, the Wind Ranger does damage a little bit, let's call it a bit over time, because you have to allow the poison to take effect. But really doesn't matter if you take anything other than Bell Oracle. It's just to speed up the battle, because since there is no healing, you will die, and you don't want to take the Water Sylph. For this boss, I've seen some situations where it's possible to go through it, but generally you have to remember that water, it can prolong your battles, because you got tons of healing, so you can heal and heal and heal, and you can spend half an hour and maybe you win, but it's not really worth wasting the time. Find a way to do it without water, so that you can do it fast every day, because it's something that you do every day, and you want it finished as fast as possible. So let me think. For tips, I think that's about it. Skills wise, don't bother with defense. That's for sure. It's a full offense, so don't go with a polo shield. If you have to use a polo shield to survive, then it's too difficult. The whirlwind, I know, does hit everybody, but I don't like to use it because the damage is rather small. The ultimate slasher is a lot more powerful, because not only the base percent is powerful. Remember that we also have a talent for which is, I don't even remember where it is anymore. That slasher, shadow thrusher, there it is. The ultimate slasher rage consumption is increased, but the damage is increased by 21%. So it's not only the percentage that you see here, which is 150. So you might think, okay, you got the whirlwind, it's almost 100%, and you got the ultimate slasher, it's 50% more. So it's not that bad, you might think, but this is higher, and on top of that is another 21%. So it's really a lot more powerful, and you want to take out the boss as fast as possible, because although the mobs are dangerous themselves, he is the one that hits the hardest. So that's why you need to use things that target him. When playing with other classes as well, use skills that target the boss. Slow him down, keep him slow all the time. As I mentioned, don't forget the Maya rune. You can get it, I believe, via the rune exchanges if you don't have it. Those come up once in a while, so if you stay tuned to Dolly Games Wartune, you can see the coming up events. Or if you're curious to see when was the last time, you can check it out there as well, to kind of estimate when the next one will come out. But it's a useful rune for anywhere where you need to slow things down. It does not work in all parts of the game. I don't even remember anymore where it works and where not, but I do believe it works in Catacombs. So I used it before when my battle rating was lower. I used it before when I awakened the Sylph to do rune activation awakening on the first run. And that allowed me to keep the boss slowed down, all the time. And remember, if your BR is lower and you have to awaken once before his final health, or that in total twice, so once in the beginning to remove his health, you need to get out of Sylph mode after maximum of 3 attacks. The reason for that is your awakening points need to rebuild. You don't want to do too much damage. You need to do exactly the amount that you need, which is usually about 1 life. And also because the slow is wearing off, so it's better to come out of the attacks and reapply the slow with something like Shadow Thrusher if you're a knight. Let's put the slasher back on. If you're a mage, the thunder also works, and if you're an archer, of course, the deep freeze. That's the easiest. And that's about it. If you have any questions or any other combinations that you're using that you're not sure of, let me know, and we'll try to answer in the comments what we suggest in your particular case. But the general logic I wrote with tips also in my article on Dolly Games Wartune, so check that out first before asking questions, because probably I have answered them. Sylphs wise, let's see, people might think you want area damage sylphs, but that's not necessarily the case. I think the first time I succeeded beating the Maze 30 boss was with the Electro, and the reason for that is because of the powerful single target damage. And the way you do that is you gotta awaken him, let's say in the beginning of the second life, in order for the Delphic to be ready before his last life. So when you awaken, then use something simple, even auto attack. If you're strong, do auto attack. Otherwise, do something simple, like even short circuit, or if you have the basic skill, I forgot the name of it. Let me see, this one, the Thundering Strike. Do something simple. You definitely want to find a balance. You don't want your awakening points to run out. You just want to make sure that you get to do Delphic about 2-3 fingers before his last life, and then you'll hit him hard. It'll go directly into his last life, and right after the Delphic, you need to have already the Thunder Strike ready. so that because that is also front row targeting skill, so you cannot use it when the mobs are already on the map or on the screen. So you need to use these very fast. You need to use the Thunder Strike very fast after the Delphic. Otherwise, if you see the mobs are coming during the casting of the Delphic, don't click the Thunder Strike. The only exception to that is if you have done a Rune Awakening, then you can of course have the second skill loaded during the casting of the first skill, in which case you can easily do Thunder Strike because it will already have targeted the boss before the mobs show up, even if he's not casting it yet. If that explanation was too difficult for you, then don't do Thunder Strike if you see the auras of the mobs appearing, because usually on the screen the auras load first and then the graphics for the mobs load. So the moment you see the auras loading, already forget the skill, because it's gonna target the front row and you're not interested in it. So you want to hit the boss with Delphic, then you want to follow up straight with Jupiter's Wraith, because it has a cooldown, not a very long one, but that's why you want to start with it so that it's ready in 2 skills time. So you want to hit him with Jupiter's Wraith, you want to hit him with Flash Storm. Then if the Jupiter is ready, hit him with Jupiter, otherwise Short Circuit, Jupiter, Short Circuit. Basically that's why you can kill the boss. The problem with the Electropad is that there are cases where you will kill the boss, but the mobs will kill you, and that's the only disadvantage of the Electropad, or Electrosylph. So consider those things. Of course, if you are a mage, you can always do restoration and heal yourself back up. If you're a knight, that's a bit of a problem. I think mages and archers can pull it off much easier than knights. So if you're a knight, that's the difficulty with the Electropad, but you can manage to beat the boss. Like I said, the first time I beat this boss was with the Electropad. Then as I started making my dark stronger, I started using it more frequently, simply because he has both 2 area damage skills and, of course, most importantly, the Devour Soul. And I've given him the Devil's Gaze, which has the priority to players, which means priority to boss as well. So I always open up with Death's Harvest, followed by Devil's Gaze, unless I'm hurt, in which case I start with Devour Soul, which will not hit the boss, but it will stop me from dying. The only tough part with the Dark Pad is that its attacks are not as strong as Electro, and so even with the first barrage of all the powerful skills, it's possible that the boss is still alive, in which case there's a high chance you will fail. But what you can do is not give up and continue grinding, basically killing off the front row mobs and getting to the boss, just by brute force. And with the Dark Pad, because of the healing, you can manage to do that. I do manage to do that sometimes, so that's also possible. With water, I haven't tried. The boss, I haven't succeeded too much when I was at the lower BR. The boss buffs up very fast, and your healing simply cannot keep up with it. Of course, if I had a stronger water pad, maybe that would have worked. But yeah, like I mentioned before, also water simply prolongs the battles, and it might allow you to win certain battles which you can't win with other sylphs, simply because of continuous healing. Yeah, it just makes things longer, and you need to try to make things shorter. Light Pad definitely works, because 3 AoEs that you can get relatively easily, and the cooldowns are low, so you can just clean up the map. The problem is, again, these AoEs are not so strong, so they might kill you before you kill all of them. Usually you kill all of them together, and that's why before they're all dead, they do full damage to you during that entire time. And the problem with that is, of course, as you see, light cannot heal. So that's a problem. If you're not in good health and you don't kill them fast with your AoEs, they will kill you. So it's a more dangerous pet. But again, if that is your main sylph and that's the strongest one you have, for me it's not the strongest one. It's 102 for me. Let's see, the water is also 102. These are 135, 37. But yeah, you can definitely make it. For fire, I didn't even try. My fire is the weakest, but I don't think fire is a good choice for this boss because of the type of skills he has, like hitting 2-3 enemies which you cannot control who he is going to hit. Same for the Delphic, 1-2 enemies you cannot control. Wind can manage it, but again, very difficult. There's the Wind's Grace, but it's not entirely powerful. So the only thing you got is the Delphic. The Gust, it hits the front row, so you cannot control it. The Steel is of course a more PvP skill, but you can use it as an area damage as well. But I think the Delphic and the Steel are not powerful enough together to take out the boss and the mobs, so I wouldn't really go for that. So that's my tips and recommendations and demo of how to kill the Purgatory level 30 boss. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Please do click on like and subscribe. Please visit also our website, Doll Games Wartune. Our Facebook page is also linked up from there. Please like it, subscribe. On the website you can also subscribe to get email notifications when we publish new articles. So that's it, you guys. Thanks for watching and have a very nice day.